Screw it, we'll do it live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Coming of Shadows, the Season 2 Babylon 5 Retrospective. This week on the show, we're talking about the episode 10 from Season 2, which is called GROPOS, which is short for Ground Pounders, which is the show is all about the infantry. Hooah, the infantry, queen of battle. But before we get into that, let me welcome my co-host, the man who is the Dodger to my Garibaldi. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
Good evening, Babylon 5 fans.
Good evening. Yeah. That's it. You don't have anything? No, nothing more to say. Something more exciting? No.
Just welcome everyone in the chat. Hey, what was the follower count before? Did you lose followers? So you're at 617 right now, it says.
Probably. They're dropping like flies.
Oh boy. Well, all right, everybody. We need
someone. I think that's what we were at. 617.
Was it? Or was it 619? Well, in any case, hey, please like and subscribe because Snob needs followers for both his ego and his channel.
Mainly for my ego, though.
Right.
That's right. That's what I should. Maybe I should be threatening people and saying, "Hey, more followers, or I'm gonna do something." I don't know. Anyway, do we have any administrative stuff, Cam, that we need to go over? I don't think so.
Don't think so.
Just jump right into the show, eh?
Yeah.
Why waste time? All right, let's bring on our panelists, Death Angel Shadow and Jason, our regular co-panelists, and our special guest panelist for today, of course, Outpost Nerd.
What's up?
Welcome, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Yeah,
Hello.
Jason,
your camera's not off.
I think Jason for a second. He might think that we.
Oh my God.
We were gonna take more time before we jump right into the show. That could be. Could have been it.
Could be.
That's fine. Go ahead. Yeah. Welcome. All right. You guys got anything before we? Or do you want to dive right in? I mean, we have to do, of course. We got the trivia answers from last week, but
I haven't finished watching that episode yet.
Last week's episode, or this week's episode?
Last week's.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Somebody's in med bay. That's if that tells you where I stopped.
The trivia won't ruin it for you. You'll be fine. All right. Okay, so let's go into the. Let's jump into it. Let's go into the questions from last week. Let's do that, and yeah.
There he is.
All right. Okay, here we go. Questions from last week, of course. What is the Centauri Emperor's name? What position in the Centauri government is held by Malachi? Who delivers the Emperor's message to Jakar? Who are the veiled Centauri women? And who does Jakar wield his copy of the Book of
Jaquan?
Jaquan.
Jaquan, yeah.
Well, I caught that part.
I always get that. I always have a problem with
I know that one.
all right, let's get the answers.
We
of
just
course.
did that in the top. That was the last thing I saw.
So the Emperor's name, of course, is Turhan, which I think we mentioned it, but it slipped by me.
It's the actor's real name.
Yeah, it's the actor's real name as well.
Really?
But that's
Yeah.
I don't remember
Wow.
hearing it in the show, but of course I found out afterwards. And Malachi is the guy at the beginning. He's the prime minister who wants to go with the Emperor, but he says no. Dr. Franklin delivers the Emperor's message, of course. And the veiled Centauri women are the telepaths that he uses. Two stay with him, and two are like supposed to stay on the planet, and the other two are with him when he goes anywhere, so he always knows what's going on. And of course, Natoth gets the Book of Jaquan, which of course we know she's not really religious, though. So that's why Jakar says stuff about. I hope she, finds faith or something when he figures he's going to be dead or in jail or something like that. All right. Good stuff. That's the trivia for last week, and of course we'll have more trivia at the end of this one for this episode. Let's jump right in. Cam, do you want to do the episode summary?
Should we say hello to the everyone in chat first?
Do you want to say
Hi,
hello to
everybody in the chat.
All right. Hi, everybody in chat. Okay, go ahead, Cam. Cam loves the chat.
Yeah. Q2 Cast, Madman, welcome. Dave, see you as always. Umbris, we've got, and then Justin D2, Smithman Bear, Smith, Fail Bear.
Oh, Kim, your microphone sounds really muddy to me.
Is it?
Or is it to everybody
You're
else?
going in and out, yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
Well, that's better.
Let's do a test. How about now?
That's
Much
good.
better.
Great.
wow.
Okay. I will avoid moving. Okay, then we've got Jeanette, welcome, and Green Girl just popped in. All right.
Dustin,
Hey, Green Girl and
Has
Jeanette.
Dustin
and-
been in here before?
Not that I've seen. Not when I've been in here.
I don't think we've seen
Well, if not, welcome.
Welcome, yeah.
Welcome,
Yeah,
everybody.
new people. We like that.
And just as a reminder, we do love the chat comments. We go to them often to supplement our discussion. So
And
That's right.
the YouTube, and it also feeds the YouTube algorithm into thinking that you guys watching the show are actually real. So
Chat
Amen.
is good.
In-
Chat is
interacting.
wise.
interacting is good.
And of course, Cam needs people to keep him in check. Not me, because I know everything. But
right.
and,
Okay, so thank
Green
you.
Girl- sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so thank you for that, and ready to go.
No problem. All right. And of course, Green Girl taking us into part of the show already. Never wanted to see anything less than Garibaldi making out with anyone. I kind of agree with that. It's
I guess she doesn't like a hairy Italian man.
but yeah. All right. Anyway,
Well, we'll cover that in detail. Okay.
Yeah,
Here
in
we
this
go.
episode, oh yeah.
All right.
let's get the chat on
Right.
screen so everybody can enjoy Green
Okay.
Girl's
Yeah, there we go.
comments. Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Cam.
Okay, episode 32 overall, as you mentioned, episode 10 of season 2, Gropos, written by Larry DiTilio, original air date February 8th, 1995, and production order 210, so right in order with its air order. Okay, Babylon 5 plays host to 25,000 Earth Force Marines known as Ground Pounders, led by General Richard Franklin, Dr. Stephen Franklin's father. That's it.
It's direct and to the point.
Quick and to the point. Bravo.
Yep. All right, take it away, Snub.
Okay, so I'm getting better at these. I'm trying to make them shorter. So let's see if we can do that today. So of course, the
Impress
episode
me.
starts off with a big surprise. General Franklin, father to Dr. Franklin, shows up, and this is a surprise to all of Babylon 5. Shows up with about 25,000 troops, and of course, looking for beds for them. There's something going on. They're going somewhere. It's all secret. We find out the next day when he briefs the three main officers on Babylon 5, Sheridan, Ivanova, and Garibaldi, that Earth is providing aid to destroy some rebels on Actor, excuse me. And this has something to do. The reason they're doing it is because this system apparently has easier access to the Centauri and the
Narn.
and the
Narn.
Narn.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Earth is looking to do some political maneuvering there, get into a position where it can affect that war for either
There's a
side.
war?
Yeah, there's a war. There's a war.
I didn't know that.
And the Centauri are fighting. So it's looking to be able to get its nose in there. They help the Actorians out. They take out these rebels, this rebel stronghold, and they'll give Earth access to their system. Some sort of, this is typical what America does all the time, and that kind of thing. So now they get the
What a Canadian thing to
however they
say.
want. What a Canadian thing. Exactly.
Since even though Canada's like the war crime first place winner.
No, we're nasty.
Hey, but you have Poliv here again.
I don't know about that anymore, but anyway, so that is the sort of the basis for the setup of the episode. Now, there's a bunch of other things going on, a bunch of smaller ones. The main one being between apparently Dr. Franklin and his general father have some sort of conflict. Father-son thing, and that's played out over the episode, and we see them come to at least an understanding of some sorts at the end. In addition, throughout the episode, the ground pounders are carrying on like infantry soldiers do, starting fights, attempting to beat up Minbari ambassadors, cause problems in general. As well, you've got two other sort of smaller storylines going on with Kefir and a bunch of two privates, which seem like pretty cool guys, are housed with him because there's not enough space. And they kind of come to a little understanding, talking back and forth. We get to see a little bit of the personality of some of these guys, develop a little bit of a rapport with them. And as well, Garibaldi has a female private hit on him, and takes him goes back to his room with him, but of course he screws it up.
Of course he does.
And we find a little bit about Garibaldi.
Only Garibaldi could like snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory.
Yeah, it was like a sure thing too.
Yeah,
that is the basic of the episode.
She was like a Navajo.
I don't know. I think E-Clay's calling me out. Hand waving. I'm just sort of hand waving there. Or maybe it's referring to someone else. Anyway, that's the essence of the episode. Let's talk about it in more detail. Cam, where do you want to go first?
Well, since we had a request from Green Girl, let's just go right to the Garibaldi romance subplot. Which I agree. It was like, oh my God, please, can the scene end? Can you cut away to the what do they call it? What the classic thing in Star Trek, the boots scene or whatever, or the boots.
Boots under the bed?
Yeah, whatever it was. It's like, oh my God, it just kept going on and on though. But maybe Outpost Nerd, maybe you would like to discuss why there is relevance in that scene, since you mentioned it ahead of time.
I think, first of all, Dodger is played by a great actress named Marie Marshall, who one thing I like about this show is you can see the actors who played on she's another Star Trek alumni who played one of the terrorists who tried to rob the Enterprise in a great episode of Next Generation called Starship Mine.
That's where I've seen her before.
Yeah,
which also featured Patricia Tallman, who's the
Yep.
other psychic from this show.
Yep, she was Beverly Crusher's stunt double for a lot of the Next Generation series. But yep. And
See, I keep looking at her and I'm thinking, why does she look familiar to me? And I'm going through her IMDb list. And I'm like, I haven't seen anything that she's in except that episode of Next Generation. And she's got face appliances all over. She's got the prosthetics. I was like, why does she look so familiar? And I still can't figure it out. It's got to be the fact that she looks like somebody else, because I haven't seen
Dr. Crusher.
anything that she's been in.
Mystery solved.
But the thing that's important about this storyline, in my opinion, it holds to the fact that we see today that I've had I personally was not lucky enough to serve due to health and physical limitations, but a lot of my friends did. and men and women. And it's this idea that, hey, I might be going to die tomorrow. So let's not hold anything back. And Dodger, in my opinion, she is the personification of that military life aspect of not holding back. Because my day, my tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
But
So
it's like, go ahead.
I was gonna say not to get sexist, but when I lived in Orlando, and it was near everybody that went that knew of the Naval Training Center in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Once they went through basic, everybody was going out to party on the town, and the females and the males both. The females were often referred to as Navajos because they were DTF.
But she also, to me, shows that military aspect of doing the right thing, because she did not know Delenn from
Adam.
Eve. She had no idea. That's why she beats up her own squad mates because she feels they're doing wrong by unjustly attacking Delenn.
Yeah, let's delve into that story bit just a little bit in case anybody didn't see it. So Delenn was talking to Mr. Garibaldi in the the common area or whatever, where there's all these soldiers and everything.
Zucolo, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Right. And kind of about other things going on regarding the Narn and the Centauri. She's basically trying to broker a peace talk or something like that.
And she's concerned about why there's so many Marines on Babylon 5.
Right, because and that's this isn't public why they're there. I mean, not even only the command staff knows.
Not even Franklin.
There. Right, Franklin doesn't even know. Dr. Franklin. And so then so Delenn's walking away, and then one of these Marines notices her, clearly as a Minbari with hair, and then he confronts her, and then with their whole racist overtones and hatred.
This to me has a lot of racial and I think politics of the day overtone. This episode, it's specifically because you got to realize we're probably only 10 years out from the Earth Minbari War, not even that maybe. So there's probably a lot of animosity still between humans because
that guy could have served in the war.
Well, he probably did.
Right. Yeah, he was an older.
Yeah,
guy.
he was older. They said Large had been in
30 years.
For 30 years. So I highly doubt he was still a private after 30 years. But
he might have got busted now.
Yeah,
and
for fighting,
it would be pretty rare.
We'll see this overtone a couple of times.
Private first class. Large was a PFC.
Yeah, so he probably he's probably knocked a few officers around in his time.
Yeah,
and got in trouble.
Yeah, so Dodger, like you were saying, sorry for that aside. Go ahead. She jumps in to help Delenn.
And she kicks ass.
Oh yeah, she does.
Those high kicks of hers was like, damn, woman, Garibaldi would have had fun.
Yeah.
But she like I said, she has no idea who Delenn is until Garibaldi tells him, and she is just awestruck. He's like, take it for this guy to mess with an ambassador. And I think
that was an ambassador.
his name was Kleist, I believe.
Yeah, Kleist, something like that.
That was the guy who started the crap.
But it really shows you that.
I think that just shows more that she didn't really like Kleist and likes to beat him up.
Well, we see this.
He's kind of the obnoxious brute.
Yeah, we'll see him act up a couple of times.
Yeah.
But
so then. Did you want to talk about Garibaldi and how this kind of pertains to his development, or where he's coming from?
No, I'll let someone else talk about it.
Okay, who wants to jump in?
Well, you basically got Garibaldi coming out of a couple of different relationships that did not end well. The main one being his relationship on Mars, where him being a drunk didn't go well then. And she ended up moving on and getting married and having a family and whatnot. So he's blown it there. He mentioned a second relationship, and I don't know why I don't remember that one.
It's from season 1.
Yeah.
Who?
I think he had a crush on not Talia, the other telepath. What was her name?
He's got a crush on Talia.
Yeah, but she was only in the pilot.
Right. Yeah, it's Talia that he's after.
Is it?
Right now.
Yeah, because there's an episode in season 1 where like she's scared to go on the elevators because she tells Sinclair, "Oh, it's like Garibaldi's always there," and he says, "Oh, Garibaldi's smart, but he's not omniscient." And right then, right as he says that sentence, Sinclair says that sentence, the doors open and Garibaldi's just standing there with a like creepy grin on his face in the
Yeah.
elevator.
I just don't
Yeah.
recall. I because the way he was talking about it here, it sounded like he actually had a relationship with somebody, and like I don't recall that happening because
I
he
think
doesn't
he had
have a
two.
relationship with Talia.
No, not yet. But well, we
He
don't
could
know
have
if
been talking
will.
about one from his time on Mars.
Maybe.
Well, that was Lise. That was Elise.
Yeah, we know about
Yeah.
that one.
But I
Yeah.
think there was another one. I
I'm
don't.
gonna have to go back and look now because
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, just trying to recall, but it does show a little bit more character development on his part, that he's not just going to jump in just because. He understands that, he's come to the realization that, you know if he acts without thinking, even if it's the right person, the right kind of relationship for him, he's going to do something to screw it up because he rushes into it and he doesn't want to mess it up, which of course sets off Dodger. And she's like, look, I'm not looking to redecorate, I'm not looking for a key, or I'm not going to move in, I just want to have a fling. I could be dead tomorrow.
Yeah,
So,
and I like how they, she kind of throws, kind of a fit about it, but then later on when they talk again, she's like, she realizes she overreacted, and then she explains her, this position about, I could be dead, tomorrow,
Yeah.
and then she had a sense also, and that, it didn't make sense that they were going back to Io, so she was like, there's something up here, so.
And we see that kind of happen a few times in this episode. Someone mentions the mission, the cover, and someone's reaction triggers them into thinking, okay, this is not true. We've seen it. We see it twice. We see it with Dodger and Garibaldi during their conversation, and we see it. And I guess we'll get into this later. Susan and Dr. Franklin's conversation.
Yeah.
Well,
and Dr. Franklin didn't know at that point.
And I think maybe that wasn't just because he was the doctor, but it's also because who was running the operation. His father probably purposely kept him out due to their estrangement.
Well, no, he said he's senior officers. So you've got Sheridan and Ivanova, and then Garibaldi's there because he's chief of security, and it's at that point it's need to know, and
but then wouldn't you
doesn't need to know?
See, I would think that you would need your chief medical officer in that to get supplies ready and medical things ready if you're going.
Well, they probably already have.
like that.
Yeah, but they're not. They're only staging. They're only staging the troops there for a time, just until they get the green light to go. They're not. They're not there for supply and
they've got their own medical.
They've already
it's basically shore leave. Is
pretty much
last hurrah before you go with
Yep.
But I think also, when you go back to the fight, you go back to the fight with the other privates, and I'm watching this, and I see, Dodger essentially wipe the floor with the other three men, who are all each bigger than she is. And I get it. They're all Marines. They're all trained. Okay. She even throws out the line, they're drunk. And then she proceeds to kick him around. And I'm thinking, if this was made today, how many of our circle would be complaining about the girl boss?
Yeah.
Well, okay, but that's because it wasn't the standard. It wasn't it must be that.
But Jason, we later see her. She during the bar fight, she gets knocked around.
She's she's
taking punches too.
She's not untouchable, but the fact that she wins, and I was like, well, okay, they're drunk, so you got to see that, but it just struck me. I was like, this is what we think of now. This is what we think about when
We're
we're
conditioned these days.
Yeah, exactly. It's a knee-jerk reaction almost at this point.
Now, I'd say something differently. She came out unscathed from these fights, but she comes out with like her face busted up, a busted lip.
Yeah.
They say, "Oh, this
You
is
know,
girl boss bullshit."
There is another thing that I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's a lot of like Outpost Nerd. You mentioned her high kicking, but there were other guys doing like these, martial arts kicks and stuff as well. So clearly,
Yeah,
the
there was a
stunt
good
guy was big on that back in the 90s.
He was a little busy that this production, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Let me make a couple comments. First of all, it's not surprising that the fact that like my impression was that the general was being sort of pulled out of retirement.
Yes.
So number one, that's going to be a surprise, like to these Marines. They've got their own general, and now he's being replaced, and they bring some other guy in, and a famous guy. So, and then the military runs on rumors anyway. So even if they told everybody everything, let's say they were completely open and there'd still be a bunch of Marines going around saying, "Oh yeah, it's bullshit. They're probably going to send us here or there." Right? There's rampant, conspiracy theories and stuff going on because the troops got nothing to do but speculate on things. So it's not surprising that a lot of people figure out that there's something going on. That I think everybody's going to know. The vast majority of the soldiers are going to be suspect that there's more going on than they're being told anyway. And
I'm glad you
just don't know what it is.
Glad you caught that snob because just the way like he was going on about like I'm an old soldier, I would think maybe there was a shortage of experienced generals due to the Earth Minbari War.
I would expect that too.
Yeah,
and my understanding, the Earth Minbari War seemed a lot of space battles. Like we didn't talk about a lot of ground battles, and Earth. The Minbari surrendered before they got to Earth to invade it.
They basically, if I remember right, surrendered before, like between Mars. They were as close as between Mars and Earth, and then they learned about the Minbari souls, and then the Battle of the Line was the near extinction of the human race at the hands of the Minbari. And
yes, but
it might have been closer
not
to
on the ground.
The moon.
It was all in space. There was no invasion of Earth. That was my understanding.
Yeah, it stopped short of an invasion of Earth. But Q2
I don't think they got to Mars. I think they were in around Jupiter. But
I'll look it up. I got the wiki.
Yeah, but
but the point is they were in our solar system.
I wanted to just comment on the military aspects of it, and it seems to fit. The soldiers are going to fight anyway, and a lot of them are, especially normal soldiers. The way that Marines work too is especially you're on a ship somewhere and you're quote safe, but then hours later you could be in the middle of God knows where, right? So they're going to have a little bit more of that sort of attitude. They can go from where they are relatively safe to somewhere very dangerous very quickly. Where in the army, sort of the regular army, would not be like it would be much more of a slow. You're going to the front, you're getting somewhere. The Marines tend to just go into these situations from anywhere. So a little bit of a different mentality, I think.
And
not that fairly good.
Yeah, and Garibaldi's been in situations like that. I mean,
he comes from a family of he comes from a military family. Garibaldi does. So
I mean, remember,
General knows his dad. With his dad.
I love that. That scene always made me laugh. He's like, "Oh, I had an Alfredo in under me during the Dilgar invasion, which was the war preceding the Earth Minbari War." And he's like, he was a good soldier, and he's like, "Yeah, that was my father." He's like, "So much for genetics," because he sees the lackadaisical attitude Garibaldi has. And it's like, I noticed when he tells him to stand at ease.
Garibaldi puts his hands in his pocket.
He's like, "Huh, yeah," but while Sheridan and Susan actually stand at ease.
Well, Garibaldi gets right on the wrong foot, by mouthing off as he's coming into the room. And Franklin, General Franklin, clearly is by the book kind of guy.
No nonsense, duty first kind of guy.
Yeah,
right. Snob, I know you mentioned it in the in your summary. But getting back to the main storyline here for a second, I know we kind of jumped into it. So, like you said, that this alien world that apparently I'm not sure how big they are, but they're clearly a small player. They might not even be in the non-aligned worlds alliance. Has an internal conflict, and they're basically, they're offering, they're basically using Earth, right? Because to solve their problem, and then allowing Earth to have a permanent presence there. And the need for this is all because of the heating up of the Narn and Centauri war. So Earth Force is trying to position themselves, and this is going through the Senate and going to be announced, right? So, and I'm sure I'm repeating some of what you've already said, but just So that's why the hush.
I see this actor, these actorians or actor, whatever they're called. It's kind of like, I don't know, like maybe the U.S. helping out Estonia, right before World War II, or somewhere like the Philippines, something like that.
Okay, hold on, guys. I found it.
Everybody.
The Battle of the Line happened in Earth orbit, so it happened at Earth because it was the last line of defense. It said they were placed in a near Earth orbit and waited for the Minbari to strike. So that's how close Earth came to just getting destroyed. So sorry.
I think Madman's got a good point here in the chat here. Installing new weapons and defense systems on Babylon 5. That was kind of a side note, but I think it's important.
One I was going to mention. Yeah,
I assume it's going to be important for the future.
Well, they don't. You could see where Earth is worried about the Narn Centauri war, and they don't. They're worried about, okay, if we help the Actorians or whatever they're called, there's another name for them. How are the Narn and Centauri going to react? And Babylon 5 being the closest gate to Actor, we need to beef them up in case something happens. So,
right,
and Sheridan's dislike of it. He's like, this is a place for peace, not
which is, and that's an interesting point about Sheridan too, because again, he's a war, a military commander. So, but he's adopted his.
Not only that, but the general asked him at one point, because of the confrontation he's had with his son. He's like, Sheridan, has anybody ever called you a murderer? This idea that we're soldiers and we kill people, and some people are not going to understand that particular aspect of the job that we do. And Sheridan's like, well, you put on the uniform, that's a risk you're going to take, and you got to learn to live with it. And the Minbari see him as a murderer.
I always found that up. I never liked that.
Well, I mean, it's how many?
It would be like calling the crew of the the Enola Gay murderers.
Well, the other side sees them as war criminals, right? And how many little spats and skirmishes have we dealt with over the last 30, 40, 50 years? Yeah, and how many accusations of war crimes, do we ever hear? So it's that propaganda. People buy into their own press at some point. So and the fact that he's the only one that won any kind of decisive victory against the Minbari during the war, they established in the episode where he shows up first that they don't like him. And
he took out they're like, this is like if taking out the Enterprise in Star Trek. That's what he did.
Yeah.
That's I got a little, like, in this storyline, and especially towards Franklin's feelings towards his father when he says that to him. If I had said that to my father, I would have been picking up my teeth off the floor. And I felt thinking about it, I had a very Vietnam era kind of feeling towards that conversation, and it broke my heart. And another thing is, I wanted to mention General Franklin was actually played by actor Paul Winfield, who played Captain Terrell of the USS Reliant in The Wrath of Khan.
Yep.
He was also in Darmok.
Yep, Darmok. He played the captain. He was also in one of my favorite episodes of Family Matters, where he played Rachel and Harriet's long lost father, who never mentioned him, but magically appears and then is gone and never mentioned again. He was a great actor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
also-
Terminator.
He did really
he was
well.
in
yeah.
Terminator, but he was also in Batman the Animated Series. He was the mechanic that built the Batmobile and all the vehicles for Batman in that great episode.
And I gotta say, as soon as I saw Paul Winfield was in this, I was wondering at what point is he going to die? Because
Yeah.
that's Paul Winfield's track record, right?
it was
How
Sean
many-
Bean before Sean Bean.
They
Exactly.
they certainly hinted that was a very, very likely possibility.
Yeah, I
Well-
was surprised when he showed up at the end and it was like, oh, he made
Yeah,
it.
and I mean, I don't
He is
know.
the general. So.
I don't know if we're ready to jump to the end yet,
Well,
quite yet, but
let me. Go
but
ahead.
I was gonna say one of the things that you do pick up on Franklin, General Franklin.
We gotta be specific with which
Yeah,
Franklin we're talking
yeah.
about.
General Franklin is that he had a bit of, I don't know if you want to call it racism, but speciesism.
Speciesism. Yes, I would
because he actually when he was, I think he was arguing with his
He
son,
called them
and
creatures.
he said these alien creatures are a threat to humanity.
Yes,
And he was
Because once
talking
again-
in general about all of them, not just the Minbari, you know.
I thought that was quite
Again,
interesting.
we're seeing the ramifications from the war, and this is what I like. Like the past still impacts what's going on in the present in this series. It's
Yeah,
not
and
ignored.
Yeah, and I could see that by, you know, knowing things that my grandfather and my uncle, you know, my grandfather of course served in World War II, and the things that he referred to,
Yeah.
you know, the Germans, the Japanese, the Italians as and then of course my uncle was in Vietnam.
Well,
And yeah,
you know what?
so I've heard that too.
Our modern sensibilities, where we're horrified at such things. Well, okay, you go to a war with somebody where you're worried about getting a bayonet stuck in you, and then see if maybe you get a little salty with your language. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna.
Oh, I'm not. I
know
mean,
you're not bashing them. I'm just saying.
I'm not bashing him for
some
it. What I'm
people
saying is I
would.
could see that is a realistic expectation.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, and one of the things that governments do, because it's part of war, propaganda is part of war, and one of the things you do when you're at war is you dehumanize your enemy.
Right, because it's hard to kill someone that you think of like yourself.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Dude,
right.
guys, Dr. Seuss started in propaganda. He did for the War Office during World War II. All that Disney, like when Donald is dreaming that he's working in a German factory.
Bugs Bunny sold war bonds.
Yep. But
well,
So, a couple of things. I think it's interesting. I mean, I'm more interested about what that says about the general with that attitude, what it says about what we know about Earth. Like he might be just, it might be just he's an old soldier. He's not really, so he still sees aliens as, you know, these bad things. And you know,
I think you're right, Snow. I think he's representing.
Is he representing Earth? Is that there's that kind of attitude is now?
Yeah, we've definitely seen
part
that
of
throughout the series. Is that there is this growing Earth first, humanity first kind of sentiment. So yeah, I think he is representing that, and that's not unusual, right? A soldier is representing the government,
their nation or their government.
Well, I mean, the thing that makes me question it is because he is older. You know, he's been come out of retirement. He wouldn't represent the sort of the general necessarily the general military attitude towards aliens.
Did they ever say he was retired? I don't.
They insinuated it. Like,
see, I didn't pick up.
Yeah,
I picked up that he was an old dog who just never. Yeah, he was in and he was in.
Well, in his discussion with.
I didn't catch if they said it. I didn't catch the hint.
He was in for life. He did not retire.
It might not have been retirement, but there was a discussion with him and Dr. Franklin where it was like, yeah, they kind of brought you in, you know, from wherever he was in.
He could have been like desk duty or something.
Yeah.
And
Working at
My
the
point
equivalent
is
of the
that
Pentagon
he's
or
not.
something like
He
that.
wouldn't necessarily be at this point in his career, who he is. He's not necessarily going to be a war fighter.
Yeah,
It's
that age.
generally the younger
Well,
men.
You're
because
right.
he
those
even
positions.
says to Franklin, he's like, if you want to see aliens, I can get you a job at Bethesda Dome, which I'm guessing is like
Right.
a part of the like a prestigious place on Earth or something. You don't
Yeah.
really
So
learn.
he's got a high level of influence, right?
Well, he's famous because there's a scene where Susan brings in a group of Marines that have to bunk in the med bay, and Franklin, he just had his argument with his father, which I guess we'll get
Old
into a little bit.
Firestorm. Yeah.
And he's dead set against it. And he names off all these heroic titles that his father has.
Yeah. Old Firestorm was just one of them, but we heard that one a couple of times because
he's the General Patton of Earth.
Yeah.
I think Dodger.
Well,
Dodger.
oh my God, Snob!
Yeah.
That is a perfect way to describe him because he's got that air of General Patton, but he's also got that stereotypical riding crop that he always carries around, like Patton would had in the movie,
like Captain Styles. Of the Excelsior.
Yes. But
okay, before we go on, we do want to talk about Franklin and his father, Dr. Franklin and General Franklin. The point I was trying to make earlier was that Sheridan, despite being a military man and everything, we're seeing here with his objections, and he's had several instances of it where he is, he's taking his role here on Babylon 5 as a diplomat seriously. And, we've already seen him, he doesn't harbor any particular hatred of the Minbari. And so, we see a little bits of his character, even in this episode as well, kind of where he's at in his personal views and attitude towards, the universe.
Yeah, I want to comment on that, Cam. I think that's very interesting because he's only been on Babylon 5 for what? This is maybe
a couple months,
4 months, 4 months. And he's, like he said, he's a military guy and he's always had these military operations on ships and stuff. And he's just flipped, right? Like from what he was before, he's like completely on board with this whole diplomacy thing. Even with that episode a couple times back where he's a little bit, am I going to be?
We saw him struggling for a while.
I mean, 100% in there
because
and, defending it and saying, "Hey, I don't even think you guys should even be here using the staging area. This is supposed to be a." Because
did you notice he and Delenn had the same reaction to Babylon 5 being mobilized in a military way? And they you don't know if they talked about it, but she's like, I'd hate to see Babylon 5 become like an armed camp, which is kind of the same way that Sheridan disapproved of in the briefing.
But by the same token, that argument is that would be like, okay,
they're very naive.
United Nations, it would be like arming the United Nations, protecting it with heavy weapons. Again, the United Nations is in the United States, which is already going to be protected by heavy weapons. But yeah, so I don't know how maybe the Hague or something like that. I don't know. I don't know why him kind of objecting to it, especially when you never know what's going to come through the gate.
Well,
what happened his first day.
Though the thing about it is, though, Babylon 5, essentially at its core, is supposed to be neutral territory. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be basically a multi-tiered embassy. And the embassies are generally, holy ground, Highlander. You don't do anything there. That's sovereign territory. And I think this notion of putting a lot of massive earth guns on a neutral station might be seen the wrong way by certain members.
But again, you also have to protect the people that are there.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to protect the delegates that are there, that are present.
But the other part of that is that Earth Force is coming in there and putting a bunch of guns on the station without having told any of the other diplomats, any of the other governments that they're about to do this.
We
Exactly.
see that. I think we've seen the EarthGov do that quite a few times. They'll do something without consulting their
They-
allies.
Jason's
Yeah.
making a good point, and I think
Yeah.
Jeff, your analogy doesn't work. The analogy would be better as if, let's take the United Nations. I mean, if
Well,
the
that-
American
Middle of the
if the
ocean.
American government came in and put machine guns and lasers right on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
UN
yeah.
building, like
well,
that's not,
and that
that's
is
a
the
difference.
first. That was the first analogy I said.
Yeah.
It would be like heavily fortifying and arming to the teeth. But by the same token, they're not going to get. The United Nations is located in the United States, right? So it's in the country that's already protected. This
Yeah.
is a space station out in the middle of space. That is multiple hops away from Earth, and hops away from Centauri and Narn, and God only knows what else might try to come through the gate. Just because you've got all these people here, well, that makes it a prime target for some alien that might have a beef or just wants to wipe out all these lesser beings or something. There is some sort of shadow people running around, right?
So yeah, and that's another thing we don't hear any talk
Well,
about.
does
them.
Earth believe that? I don't know that Earth believes in the shadow, do they?
Well, the
don't know.
Narn certainly do, and
I think at this point, Kefir is the only human to have
seen them.
seen
But
them.
he did report on it.
Yeah, he did. But that don't mean nothing. That don't mean jack squat.
That could also be part of the reason why they, because we know these shadow ships have destroyed, it destroyed the vessel with the, several of the ships.
Jakar believes.
Well, and the other
we don't even know if the
aspect,
Narn government believe that much.
well, and that could be part of the secrecy on this mission as well.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, if you've already got Narn and Centauri at war with each other, and the Centauri apparently have some way of decisively defeating the Narn in every conflict, we don't want them to know about what we're doing until it's too late for them to actually do anything about it.
Right.
And so everything's operating in secret, including the armament that's going in at the station. Because if anybody got word about it before it happened, then you'd have time to do something preemptorily to take out the station before it can be fully armed and operational.
Right. Well, if the Earth Alliance does have to pick a side at some point,
yeah,
what are the Narn going to do, or what are the Centauri going to do, depending on which side we chose, if we choose a side?
I would suspect that within a lot of the the bigger governments and even the smaller ones, especially Earth, everyone's going to be scratching their head and going, how the Centauri are on a decline. They don't have the ships to attack these places. What's going on? How come they are able to do all this? There's going to be a lot of intelligence services scrambling in Earth and the Membar and the Narn as well, going, how the hell did these guys? We don't think they have the capability to do this. How are they able to do it? And that's intelligence people don't like it when they don't know answers to questions.
Yeah.
One thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, we were talking about the operation and everything. The one thing, and I don't know if you touched on it, about Sheridan had some experience with this race before.
Yes.
And he flat out tells General Franklin, it's like, you're being lied to. This is not an easy thing. They're like, oh, this is no problem. You could just come here and do this. And it's like, no, this is not easy. So that's
another reason that they chose Babylon 5, I think, because Sheridan's experience with this race.
Yeah.
One thing I kind of want to touch on, if that's okay, with the relationship between the two Franklins. I kind of know how Stephen feels. My dad, while not in the military, was a pilot, so he was gone a majority of my childhood. And so I know that feeling of your father walking out and not knowing, am I going to see you again?
Yeah.
My dad's job it's not military or anything, was not military, but he had to control everything or to keep from falling out of the sky. And he had that controlling attitude, that General Franklin had as well. And you see that I had a girlfriend whose grandfather was a drill instructor in the Marines, and he had that kind of attitude, that military attitude that could not be turned off at home. So I see why why Franklin is the way he is, the free spirit that he kind of is.
But
That
not necessarily free spirit. But because he's strong in his convictions, and because his father does say, I wouldn't have, wouldn't have raised my son to not stand, when he's talking to Sheridan, to stand
not
up
speak his
for,
mind, yeah.
yeah. Free spirit, I think, is more willy nilly and kind of floats around.
Well,
He
does
definitely
that
does.
too.
Yeah, but it's within a framework of
No,
his
because
convictions.
because it mentions he mentions before joining Earth Force, he traveled around the stars, and it caused and his father hated that, and him
Sure.
joining Earth Force brought him a little bit of admiration from his father. So before he joined Earth Force, he was basically a space hippie hitchhiking through the stars.
He had wanderlust, didn't we all?
Yeah.
I mean,
And
those of us that weren't fortunate enough to be
Mhm.
able to join the military, we,
same way.
God knows I had one. I moved multiple times to different places over the years.
I think I think to
Genzak
be
says
honest,
a good point.
this is a pretty pretty standard trope here. The with the in a military, with the military officer who can't step outside of what he does when it comes to his family life, and sort of treats his family like they're a smaller military unit. I mean, that's pretty much a trope. And even
Yeah.
General Franklin is very much a trope.
Yeah,
And
even
but it's a trope for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not
Tropes
Dr.
without.
Franklin, and even Dr. Franklin is a trope in the sense that usually it's often that the kids of famous military officers will either go whole hog into the military and become almost a clone of their parent, or they will go
Or the opposite.
become a
Yeah.
hippie. And Franklin is the one where he's gone the opposite, and even choosing to be
He
a
tried
doctor,
both.
right?
Yeah.
Being a doctor is the exact opposite of being a soldier, right? Like, you're healing people and fixing people.
Mhm.
So in a way, he's rebelling in that way. And his going around and hanging out and whatever, that's another sort of a
And
bit of a kick in the face to his father. I mean,
We-
coming back,
Yeah.
that's also a bit of a trope. You go out and you have your fun, you do your thing, and now you come back and you realize, hey, I need to do something useful and help
Time to
people.
grow up and be an adult and
Yeah.
settle
Well, we
down.
saw
So
that,
I didn't see that as too strange. That's a fairly standard sort of thing.
we saw that I'm trying to word this in a way as not to explain too much too soon, and I might not be able to, because I'm not sure if they've talked about why Franklin is kind of a pariah in the military circles. He's not very popular.
General Franklin or
Dr. Franklin.
Or Dr. Franklin. Okay.
Yeah, he's not very popular.
Well, I don't think we've seen that in the show. He's not very popular.
Why? Because because he's willing to treat the enemy? Is it something to that effect? Because that would be true of any doctor.
I haven't gotten any indication at all of that.
There's nothing. I haven't seen anything that would make me think that.
We'll shelve that.
And
I'll
he's
shelve that for later.
He's a pretty typical doctor. Usually, even in the military,
all life is precious.
The doctors are not very military, right? The least military officers, they're always
MASH is a perfect.
They don't know how to
example
shine
of
their
that,
shoes. They can't do anything. They're walking around, because they're specialists, and they can get away with it. And they're like, I'm a doctor. I'm not here to kill people. I'm here to fix people. So,
well, they did mention in this episode when General Franklin said about having him assigned to the other place. I think Stephen said that he had worked there at one point, and that was he implied about
he worked
having
in that kind of
like biological weapons or something.
That kind of field. We did not like it.
Yeah, right. And
he
so
doesn't want to design biological weapons to kill aliens. He'd rather help people.
Nailed it on the head.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
think
so
that
we might
that
see
says
more
something
of that.
about his character. I think we're getting a lot
Yeah.
about Dr. Franklin as we watch this episode for sure.
One thing
Well,
I like
even
that.
that. I mean, that's against the Geneva Convention today. I
But look what.
I don't know if maybe that's what she's the point that Straczynski was trying to make in this.
They probably
and-
threw that all out during the Earth-Minbari War. Again, I'm sorry, I keep going back to that war, but
I mean, well, no, a lot
of
of things. You're right. A lot of things go out the window. I mean, World War I. You had mustard gas, and
One thing,
and we used it too. So it wasn't.
One thing I liked is we learned that he has siblings. It's a small, and he's the only boy, if I'm not mistaken. I
Oh,
think
so maybe, yeah. I think. Well, he had
he's
two
got
sisters.
two sisters.
He
four
mentioned about his
sisters.
sisters.
No, 4.
Is it 4?
He mentions two that are doctors,
One's working on their fourth
third or fourth doctorate,
doctorate,
and
yeah,
then
or something.
he asked, "What about these two?" And General Franklin's like, "Oh,
Oh.
pretty much the same."
Yeah, so they're the disappointments. Is that what
And-
it is?
So, and that's another, I think, thing that points that General Franklin might have not been back in the service very long, because he's talking about his wife and his kids, the other kids.
Well, if he was assigned to a base, he'd have
Yep.
on base housing.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
especially at that
maybe
level.
not in,
yeah.
maybe still in the military, just not in this battle capacity that
I
we
mean,
see.
my wife was a Navy brat, so
The,
she lived on bases that don't exist officially.
General Franklin's pretty old. I mean, he's at the point of his career where he's not a general leading combat units. He's
Yeah.
the guy.
This
They're going to
is-
be using his experience.
He's the
gonna be doing
strategist. He's
gonna be
doing
doing
strategic stuff.
And I think
administrative or
I think that could be
logistical or that kind of stuff. So
that could be seen. And I'm
Norman
sorry.
Schwarzkopf. That's what they were going for, a cross between Norman Schwarzkopf and.
Well,
And
did you
Patton,
notice?
Maybe, yeah.
Did you notice the name of the ship of the Earth Force?
What was that?
No,
destroyer?
what was it?
I
Was
think
it?
was
Okay, so
Schwarzkopf.
they
Yes,
see,
that's right. It was
because it's right in that time. We're talking
yeah.
94, right? 94, 95.
one thing I did not that I hate that science fiction shows cannot get right. They cannot get the size of ships right. We see 5 ships being escorted by the Schwarzkopf. So that means there's 5,000 troops on each ship, probably, most likely, for a total
Yeah.
of 25. But then, one thing I did like about this episode was we saw the landing area of Babylon 5 more. We saw the landing zones, and we saw it almost felt like it did in the pilot. It was actually felt like an airport.
Spacious. Yeah. Well, they had four different lines.
Yeah. But then when Franklin and his aide come out, the ships look way too small to carry that many people.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And I'm thinking,
I think it could be an optical illusion, or maybe it's something very hard to.
it's the perspective thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's my Asperger's like flaring up. It's like I noticed this. I'm like, oh, and it kills me.
Well, there might I'm making some excuses here, but it might be that there were more of those transport ships that we didn't see or that came in later.
I don't know.
I'm just
I tend not to speculate on things like that when it's. Sorry, that's just the way I do it.
I agree with Outpost Nerd. I like to see them put the thought into those things. But remember, this is Babylon 5. It's a it's one of the a cheaper show from the 90s. They're not going to have the time and to put it on.
If it was not Star Trek or Star Wars, studios at this time did not put money into sci-fi.
Right.
Now that you're talking about, okay, sorry, maybe I'll let Cam go. This is kind of an aside, but
I was just going to say, do we have anything else we want to talk about in terms of the Franklin relationship?
One.
I mean,
not necessarily. I want the. Not necessarily. It's the ramifications from it. The Susan and Steven conversation at the bar.
Yeah.
We see Susan open up a lot about her regrets that we saw in TKO. Her not
with her dad. Yeah.
She said. He says, "Don't." She says, "Steven, take the time to talk to him. do what I didn't do, and that's what I pointed out earlier. The 2 times that someone mentioned something that made people think, okay, this is not just a reinforcement at one of our colonies. And Steven realizes, holy crap, this is something more serious than that.
Well, especially, yeah. I mean, I think once he walked in to talk to his dad and he saw the battle, the
Yeah,
battle
this was
map.
that was after this. That was after the conversation with Steven and Susan.
Yeah, yeah. Was that? Yeah, that was
Yes.
that was after that. Yeah, that's when I think it fully hit him that
Yeah.
that what he suspected from that conversation with Susan is actually true.
Yeah, and this was after he called his own father a murderer.
But I see now I didn't hear him call his father a murderer
He did.
in the show.
He did.
Did he?
He said
I
basically you're
missed
fighting
that.
war and murdering aliens.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's when General Franklin looks at him and says, "Goodbye, Stephen," and walks out. And when he goes to when Dr. Franklin goes to the war room, he tries to apologize, but General Franklin, he's like, I'm too busy to hear this. And
Yeah.
I love the conversation later that they have when they almost they don't reconcile per se, but they kind of realize where
They do
each
it.
has
They do
done
at the
wrong.
end. I think at the end
I think
before
they have a lot more growth before they actually reconcile.
I mean,
Well, they set aside the
Yeah.
differences and
it's
say,
it's the
he
first
said,
time.
"I love you," to his dad. Love you, Dad. That
And
type of thing.
of course, General Franklin is the kind of guy he can't say it, but you could tell he was almost in tears when he was hugging Stephen.
Yeah. He did great. The actor did great with the facial expressions of, because I think he was worried, but he couldn't show fear in the face of
Yeah.
his troops, or his son for that matter.
Yes, especially for his son.
Yeah, but
Remember, General Franklin has spent 30 years not showing his emotions to his family whenever he went away, always wanting them to think that he'll be back and not for them to not worry. So, this is learned behavior for him for over many, many years.
I don't think the general ever realized that what the strain his job put on his family. Because
and that was what Ivanova had tell him how you feel,
because
you need to do it no matter how hard it is. You need to tell,
because when Steven says like you would walk out the door and I would never know if you were coming back, and you see the almost shock on the general's face, and I think that's when he realized, okay,
the soldiers were prepared to face death. But what we don't realize is that and I'm paraphrasing
our families
our families have to face it as well.
And one thing, a perfect example of that, Bruce Campbell did a TV series in the 90s called Briscoe County Jr.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
The Adventures.
The Adventures.
Loved it. I love it. I have it saved on my computer. I watch it over and over again. In the first episode, where Arnold Lee Emery played Briscoe County Sr., the great lawman of the West, and Briscoe doesn't. He's like, okay, my dad died. Okay, and someone's like, well, you're a little cold to it. And he says, I've prepared for this moment all my life. And I think Dr. Franklin had that same kind of mentality. I've prepared for my dad's death all my life, never knowing.
I actually disagree. I don't think he prepared for it. He knew it might happen, but he didn't prepare for it, which is why it still bothers him.
Yeah, I don't even know if you actually can prepare for it.
Considering what Ivana was talking about, losing that opportunity to reconcile with her dad, and then hinting that there's more to this operation than what anybody's letting on, and I can't tell you anything, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Franklin now has enough hint of something being
serious enough
to warrant maybe I better go try this again and see if we can at least get an understanding with Dad. if we're not if not a reconciliation, because that takes a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
But at the very least, we're going to throw some olive branches down and try to make nice. And that I don't think you have that without the perception, the assumption that this is a suicide run.
Yeah.
And I may not get another chance to talk to Dad ever again. So I'd better step up and make it count this time.
Unlike a lot of episodes of Babylon 5, I think there's an overarching shadow of, dare I say, death in this episode. The unknown, like, will he survive? Because, and I think General Franklin, he has to put on that air of, I'll be back. Because he even says, when I come back, we'll talk.
Yeah.
But until then, and I love that this was one of his main concerns with Steven, call your mother. How many times have we heard that talk? Like, I've heard that many times talking with my dad. Like, make sure you call your mother, check in with your mom. And it's something Franklin doesn't do that often.
Well, I still have that conversation when talking to my mother, because I've been, I keep her updated on what's going on with Mindy, and we text through the day on occasion, every now and again, and then I'm calling her. Here's what's going on, and as we're wrapping up the conversation, Mom is like, "Well, let us hear from you." I was like, "I'm on the phone with you. You just heard from me, but let us hear from you." That becomes this thing where, I know she's going to say it because it's Mom, and Mom has these things that she will always say, and I could write them down and I could just point to whichever one I think she's going to say this time. and it's kind of the same like with with Superman, seeing Jonathan and Martha and how she's interacting with the phone and all these things. I was like, well, it's kind of exaggerated, but that's my mom. You start to see these things, and the stereotypes and the cliches have a grain of truth to them. So that when he sits there and says, call your mother, I know exactly what those conversations are like. I know exactly what when Franklin doesn't call his mom, I have an idea of what Mom says when he finally does get in touch with her.
Probably like, "Oh, you look skinny. You're not eating enough," or stuff like that.
Right? How are they? Are you sleeping okay?
Yeah.
How's the
everything
food?
come out all right?
Food doing all right? Did you get my last package? Those kind of things, right? You always get those conversations with your mom because it's Mom,
right?
Yeah. All right, Snob. What did you want to?
Let's. I mean, I don't know. I guess we talk about Garibaldi next.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of did
already.
I mean,
did we talk about Kefir?
Kefir was kind of interesting when he's coming back and he's humpty dumpty dumpty and he goes, "Hey, who are you guys?"
Yeah, walks in. He's probably
they're smoking cigars. Wow, and I guess in the future you can smoke in quarters again, huh?
He's flight commander, he's the squadron leader, so he's probably
used
got
to be
private
top dog.
quarters. He's got his private quarters, and then all of a sudden this loudmouth giant of a man and this small little kid is sitting in his room. And I love the interaction where and I love Kefir's line to Large.
Yeah.
Large says, he gets up, "You got a problem with it?" He's like, "Yeah, let me get a ladder and we'll talk face to face." And him standing up to Large, who could probably put him through the wall.
But that Large appreciated it.
Yeah. And
he
I
respected him for it.
Yeah. And I think my first best friend when I was a kid, when I first met him, I hated him. We hated each other. But then we got on the playground, fist fought, and then we became best friends for 20 years. How many times, just showing someone that backbone?
Yeah, and again, Large was 30-year vet, and then you had what was his name?
Yang.
Was it Yang?
Just
who's the brand new fresh recruit,
a shiny, as they say in Star Wars.
Yeah. So Never seen combat. Large had seen combat. And the same thing with Kleiss. Kleiss probably. We're pretty sure Kleiss had seen combat. And because they were having that conversation.
Yeah.
And they even asked Keffer, have you seen any? Well, of course, we know he has. And really all of the guys there on the ship or on the station have seen something at some point, for the
Yeah,
most
because
part.
when they're in the bar, what's Keffer telling? Large has finally. Keffer and Yang are finally able to have a conversation because Large just talks and talks and talks.
He's always telling stories of his buddy who he
Yeah,
lost,
Buffer.
about 5 years earlier.
And Large finally goes off, and then we pan back. Keffer's telling the story from season 2, episode 1, about dealing with the Minbari ship.
Yeah.
So he's got his own war stories, and when the fight breaks out, Keffer doesn't, Large doesn't fight against. He doesn't start attacking B5 personnel.
Nope.
He starts going after Klaus or whatever his name is.
Kleist. Yeah. Kleist, yeah.
And the end was really. I'm not. No. Let's wait for that.
Yeah, we'll get to the very last scene at the last, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, what else we got before that?
There's I got a couple of I find it interesting. Did you see the names of some of the people, particularly the Sergeant Major? His name. Did you catch his name?
Ugh. Sorry.
No, Sergeant Major Plug.
Yeah.
So I think they're just throwing in, like, in the military, a plug was basically a useless soldier, right? He's not good for anything. All he's good for is like plugging a hole, right? That's right. So if someone was like lazy or they're stupid or they couldn't do anything.
Oh, he was the Sergeant Major. Okay,
that was a slang for that person.
The drill,
yeah. And I just found it interesting that they're using, they use the, what is a slang term for, that we used to use, kind of like, Kilroy or these kind of,
and I loved
in the Navy they call them dunsels.
Yeah, and other ones were like, keener. If someone was a keen, was very, keen and believed everything that the Army was telling them, and was like, yeah, let's go. Call him a keener, right?
I loved that scene at the end where Garibaldi's going through the lines where they're leaving, and he's looking for Dodger, and he's like, hey, when you get back, we'll try this out again. And
you knew at that point.
Dodger just lays one on him, and he's like, Private, get back in line now. And she gets back in line, says, you'll never know what you missed. And she starts walking off, and Plug just gives this little grin.
So he looks at Garibaldi,
tells him to leave,
and basically,
go.
And Garibaldi turns around, and then he kind of
he didn't crack until Garibaldi leaves.
Right.
Now, this brings me to my largest, most intense complaint about the episode, because we get to the end when now the combat action has taken place.
Yeah.
And Garibaldi's checking the list of names.
Are we at the end now?
Are we at the end yet?
I think we might.
Yeah, because they're getting in line and they're going onto the ship. Mm. And the next thing we know, we're getting reports back from
Did we get the news
casualty
the news stuff, and then the casualty reports come in, and the last scene is the camera going over all of them, and they're all
every single one of the GROPOS we've met are now dead.
Yeah, every one of them.
I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, where's their combat gear?
Yeah, I noticed that
they're
too.
all still in the uniforms they were wearing on Babylon 5. There's no body armor. There's no helmets. There's no.
That's not correct. They're wearing jackets of some sort, and there's
Yeah, could we
helmets.
do
I didn't
see
notice-
like
They have
well, I didn't
weapons.
see- well, they had the weapons, but I didn't notice anything in the way of body armor, any kind of extra.
we've seen
I agree. There isn't
we've
Yeah,
seen
armor. Yeah.
this same outfit with the security forces during like altercations on Babylon 5.
Yeah,
They have these black, like almost that's all they have. They have these black vests, and sometimes they'll
Well-
put a helmet on.
well-
maybe.
well, no, because they've got the full riot gear stuff, the padded quilted, stuff.
The energy weapon stuff.
And I think
Yeah.
at some point they should at least have something. If they're going into
Well,
combat, and these are highly trained Marines, Army, whatever they are,
They were Marines,
and
yeah.
they're not wearing any combat gear.
money.
it certainly doesn't look like modern infantry, where it is clearly
Yeah.
armored. and
Even the
such.
media
I'll agree with that.
in modern warfare wears more
even-
armor than
yeah,
they do.
Right.
And
Well,
even,
I mean,
Even
even
today,
if
they were.
And it says
Even if
press
you-
all over.
At the
Even
very
if you
least, you
didn't,
take the black quilted uniforms the security has on the station, and just
Yeah.
redress
Add some
them
camo or
somehow,
something.
Yeah.
put some kind of something
Well,
on there and let them, because you only need 5 of
Like
them.
throughout the
and-
90s, we saw y'all remember in Starship Troopers, we saw the troopers armor reused for multiple shows. It was reused in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. It was reused in the Train Job episode of Firefly. It was used in about 4 or 5 other things.
Yeah.
But of course, this was
David
few
has a
years
point too. And it may be for the audience recognition. That is a very valid.
All you
I
need to
could
do is
see
knock
that.
the helmets off.
I would have at least liked to see the gear scattered, maybe.
And
That would have.
Yeah, but
Well,
okay,
they-
but
they-
you can't tell
there
me
were-
that Warner Brothers Television,
This isn't Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers had a piece of it.
No, this was Turner Broadcasting.
Okay, Turner.
Yeah, but
Turner was Time Warner at one point.
Not at this
Well,
point. It was TNT back then.
But you would
by this
think
point, yeah.
you would think that they'd have the resources to say, okay, well, we have this stuff, we have this gear from this other show. You could use it. I mean, how many times did Star Trek use the Mayberry set?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with
You
you.
know, City on the Edge of Forever. We walk right past Harold's Barbershop. It's
Okay, this is
so-
how it's like. Y'all saw did y'all ever watch Reacher? The first season of Reacher in that little Georgia town. I'm watching
Yeah.
the season 1 finale of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. It's the same set.
Mhm.
They just added a couple of like metallic, like standing buildings. So yeah. But at this point, like I've said earlier, if it's not Star Wars or Star Trek, they never put any money into science fiction in the early 90s.
Okay, but here's what we did. I at first I didn't see any helmets either, but then some of them were like lopped off of them, and at least one of them was wearing a helmet. And I think like I said, I think they were wearing some kind of long jacket, because I think General Franklin
Yes.
was wearing one
Well,
also, and it
Franklin
looks
had
kind of
a
like
outfit on. But
One thing-
none of the rest of
sorry.
the ground troops did.
second season was Warner Brothers
Really?
commissioned it. Yes.
Okay, but it's like, did you notice too? This is a proof point at General Franklin was not a battle. He was behind. He was leading from behind probably, because during
He's
the
a
interview
general.
with the reporter, yeah, of course he's a
The
general. He's
division
not-
commander. I mean,
Yeah. He was not a scratch on him, but then Plug comes into the shot, and you see him like his head's bandaged. He's got his gun over his shoulder. Tells him like, "Hey, General, we need you," and he bolts it. So he's not fully hands on like he probably was in his younger days.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Let's deal with this scene. In terms of what it's portraying. So now we see. We first see the general and the report, and it's like, there's, because it was kind of delayed, and then they went to a live shot, I think, right? And it was General Franklin, basically saying that they've won, but it was we saw the landing ships and things, some of them getting hit and taken out, and so on and so forth. So we got the idea that it wasn't going well, and then they went to what Jason mentioned, I think was the Lou comes in, with the casualty report for
Yeah.
Garibaldi, who had requested it. And, he looks at it, obviously he's not happy with what he sees, and then he kind of passes it, and then Keffer kind of grabs it. And then, looks at it. And then we go to the shot that Jason was talking about, where we see, or Outpost Nerd also mentioned, we see basically every one of the soldiers that or Marines, I suppose, that, we were involved with, all of them are dead. And, so this comes into the cost of war kind of thing. It's like, yeah, these are the guys that are actually doing it, right? And I personally, I thought this was an effective scene. That it's like, and then Keffer, you go back to Keffer, and he's just standing there alone, kind of in the middle of the whole thing.
He was the last one,
and
kind of there. The rest of them had kind of,
because they were all watching the newscast, and everyone else had
well, I mean,
drifted away,
Garibaldi handed it to him, and
and
then
I think too, probably.
The point is that Keffer's more upset because everyone else is left, and he's still standing there. He's been contemplating for minutes about what's happened.
Well, I think it hits different people differently, though. I mean, because
they've all left.
I mean, yeah,
Well, these are Keffer and Garibaldi, though, are the ones that we saw having a personal connection.
See, unlike them, their wishes didn't come true. Dr. Franklin's wish came true. His dad survived all this. Dodger and Large Yang and whatever Kleist.
The asshole.
They didn't survive, unlike the general, which just shows
I mean, they're the grunts. They're the GROPOS. I mean, they're the ones that are going to do it.
I'm talking about like Keffer. Their desires didn't get meat, unlike Franklin's, is what I'm saying. So
yeah, and it's not a particularly original message, but it's like like Snob was saying, the general is in the back, where these guys were
back to the front.
This is not
right. I mean, it's not unusual. I mean, it's not. It's not improper for modern military, of course, but
generals aren't leading the charge on their horse, holding up their sword.
Yeah, those years,
right? But the point is, someone is right, and so we see it there. Again, it's not a new or original thing. It's kind of trite, in fact, right? But it's also real, and meaningful.
I agree with Cam there. I mean, I think they're using this scene to show us the what has happened in war, the cost of war, and but everything you guys said is right. Like, this is, I mean, everybody's all of them are all together, lying together. I mean, were they hugging when they got killed? Like, they're not in different units and stuff. They're not.
Well, they were probably in the same platoon or something, though, right? I mean,
why is that unlikely?
So?
Beating each other up and stuff. All of them are in the same. I mean, it's possible, but.
I mean, they were certainly
they knew each other.
It's possible, but
or it was implied that they knew each other. All
these things are possible, but there's definitely not enough gear around. Like, these guys are carrying 100 pounds.
I agree with Jason.
Combat.
That was my biggest issue.
It's all ammunition and explosives and stuff.
There should have been more. Yeah, there should have been more debris. But
that's not the point.
Production costs.
Yeah, production costs.
Well, who knows? They could have been
shot down. Think they could have been shot down?
Well, that's what I was going to say. But now that I think about it, what's his face had a knife in his hand.
Listen, if their aircraft exploded and were shot down, they wouldn't. You'd see pieces of them. You wouldn't.
Because one of the aircraft did in that combat scene. You see that one of the ships got shot down.
Well, we don't see any enemies there with them. So maybe they got hit by artillery. Who knows? But
I mean,
it could have been running towards like the enemy line and just get blasted away. Sadly.
Yeah, and to the point of armor, I don't. I mean, the armor that we see, you mentioned the security armor, which is like padded armor essentially. The weapons they're using on the stations are these the PPGs, or plasma weapons, superheated air. Essentially,
they use them so that you can't, when you're shooting someone, it doesn't penetrate the hull and causes explosive decompression.
Right. I'm not sure if that's the same weapon they use in ground combat. I don't remember
or
if
for
we've
that
ever
matter,
seen that. But
when one ship
I would
is
not. I would not compare
bombarding
what the
another one.
security forces do versus what the military does. That's
Yeah,
gonna be
so
completely different, and the level of destruction. And you've mentioned, you guys just mentioned, yeah, we don't want to pierce the hull and stuff, but they don't have that.
Well, you do
Or
if
when
it's
the
an
alien-
enemy, though. You want to pierce their hull.
yes.
But
well,
the
not if
security
you're
is
on
Not
it.
if you're
no.
on it, but if you're,
Well, the ship-based weapons are energy weapons. That we see lasers
Sure.
and things like that.
I would not compare the security forces with the
No, of
Marines.
course
They're
not.
completely different.
No, and we don't know what the alien weapon systems are
Right.
either.
Yeah. So when we see the security stuff, I don't consider that like and go, oh, this is weird, because that's
Yeah,
it's
but then
completely, the security guys are not supposed to go around blasting people. Their job is to, keep the peace and stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but you saw how many times they got to lay into some aliens, though.
yeah, it would be nice to have seen more from the alien side as well. Maybe some of their ships fighting, not just the two guns that are shooting. Basically, it reminded me of AAA, which honestly, that's probably where they got the idea, is from seeing the AAA firing off in Iraq.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, you know what? Let me ask you guys a question. I felt the end scene was fairly effective. Would you have preferred to see something where it was like a battle scene where you saw each of them getting taken down?
Yeah,
it would have made the episode
would that have
longer,
been-
but
It would have helped.
it probably would have. Yeah, if you would have actually seen them instead of, I think that was an artistic decision.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah. Well, and stop and consider that all of these all of these dead soldiers now who were not interacting in the episode outside of the fight,
Mhm.
they're all dead within
A
2 or
day.
3 feet of each other.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah,
they're all in the same room, and they're inside somewhere, but they're all kind of spread haphazardly around the same space. I was
I
like,
always felt
okay,
that they were in the trenches or something.
well, they were. I don't know. There was like
well,
a girder
wherever
and
they were, they didn't have to pay a
fire.
whole lot
There
of
was
money for
fire
the set.
going on.
Yeah,
There was a couple of flames.
Wherever they were,
here
they
and there.
didn't have to pay a lot of money for the set. It was almost like a
Yeah.
Doctor Who set.
Yeah.
But the fact that they were all there and none of them survived. What are the odds? I would think that at least one of them would have made it through.
or would have been injured, or yeah. I mean, how did they get to? Well, obviously the casualty reports would have came in later. I'm guessing that's kind of almost a flash back to the battle type scene. That probably
Yeah, it
didn't
doesn't
happen.
tell you what that scene of them, us seeing them dead. It doesn't tell us when in the battle it happened.
Yeah, and how valiantly they fought, or what they went through in that process. But again, you're also talking about broadcast television, so
Like I said,
or cable.
But it was
the
syndicated.
main thing they're trying to get through is that all of these the friends that people made on Babylon 5 are all dead.
Yeah,
and the cost of war. That I'm pretty sure.
And I think it was effective.
Yeah, and me too. There's like I said, there's lots of problems with this, but this is the Babylon 5 is not it's not trying to be completely accurate or it's not looking to do that. It's not like The Expanse or something like that where they're spending a lot of money to get the physics of everything right. It's a 90s television show. So.
It's all about story, not necessarily about the.
Which is fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we
That's why the old Doctor Who was better than new Doctor.
Anything after 12 is horrible.
Yeah.
After Capaldi.
After like Capaldi's first season.
Yeah. Well, I had some. We'll talk about that later. I had issues. This is. Snob will yell at me.
There was a couple of there was a cringy episode part for me at the very beginning where the Sergeant Major Plug comes in and he says, "All right, let's go, space grunts." He called them space grunts. I don't think you call, like, it's the future. We call everything space. Like, I think,
he used
Yeah.
cliche nicknames for them.
it's,
And
but I mean, you just call them grunts. They wouldn't call it, I thought that was a little,
well,
but,
even
it's a
ground
kind of
pounders, or whatever. Come on, Gropos. I could imagine that. Well, the one thing that I found weird is when they were kind of jogging in formation there, and they were doing the whole
The chant.
like the scene from Stripes.
But did you notice it was
Oh.
Well,
the men would say a line and then the women in it?
yeah, I saw that. That was one thing I was going to point out. Yeah, and then the other one is they said Air Force Marine Corps.
You sure they said Air Force? Could they have said
Yes.
Earth Force?
I didn't.
Oh,
I
maybe
didn't
they
notice
did
that,
say
but
Earth Force. Could be.
I'll have to go back and check that.
Probably Earth Force.
Well, how
Earth
many
Force
slang
would-
terms do they need
Yeah.
for these
Earth
guys?
Force would make more sense.
I mean,
Could have been a closed captioning error
Maybe. Did you watch it on
'Cause I
Tubi or
have-
the DVD?
on the DVD.
I'll check Tubi to see what it says.
Oh.
when we're done.
Yeah, probably in there.
Yeah, I'll go back
Yeah,
down.
you're right. Cam's right there. They're throwing a lot of slang terms around there. They're trying to get that. I don't know. I don't know if Straczynski ever served, but they're writing away, and they're like, "Oh, we got to throw
It's
it
like
all
that
out.
You know who would
stereotypical
have been- who
military
would have been-
jargon.
It would have been much better if they had.
Throw space in front of everything. That'll make it. That'll convince the audience. that
It
this
would
is
have
the
would have
future.
been much better if they had gotten, what's his name? Lee, what was
Arlie
it?
Emery, Gunny.
Yeah, he would have been, and especially at that point, yeah, he would have been ideal to have been put into that position because he would have sold it without overselling it.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, and this guy kind of over embellished. It
He
wasn't
seemed like
as believable.
He seemed like a character of Sergeant
Major
Hartman.
Plug,
Almost.
he was okay.
He seemed
was
like
okay,
a
but
caricature.
Yeah,
He was okay, but I mean, of course, Emery would have been
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
I mean,
and he would have been.
probably
It would have
couldn't
been
afford that guy.
prime age to do it at that point, right?
Umbraz asks, was the last scene part of the news feed? No, that was
No.
actually that. It wasn't part of the news feed. It was
The news. It started off with the news feed,
Yeah, it's
and
st-
and then
and it
and then
wasn't
they're
the
all standing there
imagination of the
watching. Yeah, the crew, Garibaldi,
it
and
wasn't their imagination.
well, but it was representing what happened
just a shot.
as they were looking at. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, it's
yeah, but they just saw
it's
the list.
omniscient narrator, right?
Yeah.
because they see
right.
the media, what the media is reporting, and all. Yes, we were very successful and all this, and blah blah blah. So and then Garibaldi gets handy. He said, "Sir, you wanted to see the casualty report came in." And you said you wanted to see it right away, and he handed it. And of course, he's looking for Dodger, and then he hands it off to Keffer, and Keffer is like scrolling through them, and yeah, and then they cut to the scene with the guy.
I just had a thought. You know how in the beginning, when they're coming on the base, they're basically putting their hand and they're being scanned.
Yeah,
So I'm thinking the reason someone mentioned asked how they got the casualty list so fast. I'm betting up in the destroyer, there's something that is monitoring all their life
Tracking
signs.
them all.
Oh,
So
sure.
when their life signs,
Maybe.
they're basically chipped.
yeah, but RFID. Well, it'd have to be. Well, I mean, it is 300 years in the future. So
Yeah, but-
I was gonna say,
that's a very
RFID is
reasonable
not that
assumption.
powerful. Not today,
Well,
but
remember they didn't have the comms on their hands, but they were able to just put their fist in this machine and get scanned,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
would name their
Well,
names. and
that's
rank.
RFID. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
But
how
also
they do
they're
this.
putting their hand in a little thing, and it's near field.
Okay, but they could have a transmitter on their
Understood.
Yeah, they
body.
It's like
could. They
it's
could
like
have
futuristic
something.
dog tags. Like they've been
Yeah.
chipped, and
Yeah,
that's their dog
yeah.
tags. So I'm thinking maybe the destroyer or the whatever it was called, probably
Which
was monitoring all
that also plays into people's fears about the future, and
Yes.
especially from anybody who those of us who have a religious perspective. are kind of like, yeah, hell no, I ain't getting no damn chip. I'll chip my dog, but I ain't. You ain't chipping
Oh
me. Ain't
hell,
nobody ever gonna chip
University
me.
of Florida is now doing facial recognition for to get special passes for their football games. Like hell, I will ever do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
some of that stuff needs to be outlawed.
Okay.
But that's
Snob, do we want to move towards the wrap up? I do have one final thing, unless we have any other main stories. Though.
I don't think that I have any main
No.
main stories. I don't see anything in chat. Well, I don't think. And the only big one I didn't mention was, we kind of mentioned this already. Sheridan, the conflict with Sheridan and General Franklin about the new weapons on B5, but I think we kind of covered that. That was the only other thing I had.
So.
But yeah, what was yours, Cam?
I wanted to mention Wingman Lou. For Garibaldi.
Yeah.
covered
Oh yeah, boss. Everything's fine here. There's look, it looks like everybody's going to sleep. And there's a guy that's being carried off.
Yeah, but Lou was real smooth about it. He was just like, yeah,
Lou was a dude. Lou was a brother.
Yeah,
he could see the hungry eyes Dodger had for Garibaldi.
I know Lou's smarter than Garibaldi. Garibaldi can't figure it out.
Well, and then he showed up at the end, of course, clutch moment. It's like excellent use of a supporting character, right?
Because he's the one who handed the casualty report to him.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Lou was a dude. Lou
probably already checked it, right? I would assume.
Lou probably knew.
Yeah.
And I love that line. Like they're walking off. He's like, "Have fun, guys."
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're ready to wrap up. Any other big issues that we missed, guys, before we go to
I think that pretty straightforward. We covered everything.
Much, I think covered the whole thing.
What was it? The Shillison?
Yep.
Was that the name of the people on Actor?
Yeah, I just call them. I can never say that. Never remember it, so I call them the Actorians or whatever.
Yeah, Actor was the planet, but the Shillison, I think, were the people or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
okay, Outpost Nerd, you want to give us your final?
I tend to agree with Jason. The only thing I didn't like about it was kind of the lack of gear that these supposedly full-fledged Marines were supposed to carry. So and there was some background acting that I didn't like. The general's aide during the briefing was just standing around walking back and forth. So with that stuff, I probably give this episode probably 8.5 out of 10. Because I like it that we learned a lot about one of the main characters, and that I know some of y'all have mentioned in the past y'all hate y'all didn't like Franklin, and I think this episode we're starting to see why he is the way he is.
Okay, Jason, you want to?
I'm going to be about the same 7.5, 8. I think there's an interesting dynamic between Dr. Franklin and General Franklin that does feel like some of the father-son relationships we've seen in other shows, but also real life. There the weak scenes for the military kind of knocks it back a little bit for me. But we're also laying some pieces with the armaments coming onto the station. I think that's going to come into play later. Mm-hmm. I'm speculating at that point, of course, but overall, I liked it. I thought it was pretty solid. I'm glad that we didn't have too much in the way of second and third and fourth plots. Mm-hmm. Just you do have a B plot with Franklin and his dad, but it's integrated into the main plot of we're about to go into combat. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how you should do it. There have been some times, and we talked about this before, when you have a B plot that's completely separate and apart.
Yep.
From your A plot, you get whiplash. It's hard. It's hard for the audience to keep going with that story because now they're having to follow two stories. If you've got an A and a B and even a C plot that are complementary to each other, that
Yeah.
actually are part of a whole, that works a whole lot better for the episode and flow and story logic and all of that. And yeah, Paul Winfield's character didn't die. I mean, that's a
It's a win right there.
error.
It's like the episode where Kenny didn't die.
We need
Oh,
to
and one thing that we didn't point out. I know one thing that we point out. How many aliens do we see? Delenn is the only alien we see in this entire episode.
Yeah.
Well, they had
We
to pay
don't-
for all the extras.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'm waiting. I'm thinking now. What we probably need to see is a movie with David Keith and Keith David together, with Paul Winfield and Sean Bean as supporting characters,
Well, can't really do that anymore.
and kill them both. Well, yeah, you can't because Paul Winfield's already dead. But
Yep.
But I'm like, okay, but AI. We'll just make
Yeah,
it.
why
Of
not?
course, AI.
Doodaloo.
Yeah.
Bring more people back from the dead.
All right. Oh, I can't. That's just going to be an abomination when that comes in, because it's coming.
Yeah,
It's already here.
it's all right.
So, it'll
yeah.
be Babylon 5, the battle for Actor. Sean Bean can be a brigade commander or something like that.
There you go.
They did an animated
No.
movie about a year or two ago, but I won't mention that anything
Yeah,
about it.
the time travel one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good.
Jeff,
Well,
My name's Jeff.
my name is Jan. Yeah, I hate that damn
Sorry.
movie. God, I hate that. And I don't hate that movie. I hate that movie for what it did to 21 Jump Street.
Oh, I have
I
ever
hate
since
when they turn a drama into a comedy. I hate
try
that.
being
I
try
want to
being
strangle them all.
They're about
Try
to
being-
do it. They're about
Jeff,
to do it
Jeff.
to TJ Hooker.
Jeff. Try
I
being a
like
musician.
TJ Laser.
They're about to do it to TJ Hooker. They're doing.
gonna turn into
Jeff, try
comedy.
being a band kid, a band musician after American Pie came out.
Oh yes.
Oh Lord.
I have heard that joke.
Sure.
I've gotten to the point every time I'll say
something hurting cats.
Sorry.
Any rate,
Jeff,
anyway.
sorry, my mistake. I did
Yeah,
not.
no,
mean to
I
derail you.
started it.
No, I did
I-
my mistake. Sorry.
Let me rein it in here. I'm going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it a 7. It was a good, solid episode. I did like, as Jason had alluded to. Yeah, I mean, if you want to say there, you've got the Franklins, and you've also got Garibaldi and Dodger. I guess those almost could be a B and a C plot if you really wanted to, but they were so integrated in the main plot. It's kind of like
Yeah.
these are what these characters are doing, because I mean, and Keffer and his roommates, his unexpected roommates. I mean, really, that's multiple, but that gives it a little bit of feeling, a little bit more.
Wait.
Yeah, because now you're getting attached. Your characters are getting attached to these other characters. So it's
Like 90s Game of Thrones.
yeah.
Well, the character you get to love and then
Yeah,
kill.
they're gone. Yeah, well, but ultimately, I think the sergeant major was a little overbearing. Thought it was kind of weird that only you 3 people are the ones who know, but yet there's 3 or 4 other guys walking around the room, and they supposedly don't know what's going on, right? And those are clearly guys trying to be security. They should have been stationed outside or something like that, but whatever. And then of course that final scene, I thought it was effective, but it would have liked to see it just a hair more.
The costume choice pulled me out of that scene.
Yeah, some more debris. The fire was cool, but there wasn't enough debris that they probably should have had some sort of battle helmets on, or something like that. And but overall, it was a solid episode. Great story. No fault on the story. It was good to see Franklin not be goofy and not be so standoffish, and you actually got to see a
Some-
little bit of warmth and humanity from him.
Woman crazy.
Yeah, and he wasn't macking on everything. This episode, he didn't mac on a thing at all, did he?
No.
So instead it was Garibaldi's turn. Well, to be macked on, as the case was. But yeah, 7. Yeah, at most I would give it a 7.5. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's my story.
All right, my description mirrors Jeff's. I'm going to say about a 7 as well, and I was going to say it was solid. I think it did a nice job in filling in a few puzzle pieces for the various characters and the setting and background things. It wasn't a strong major storyline episode, which is usually my criteria for being a favorite, but I think it was good. I wasn't bothered as much as the rest of you seem to be by the the end scene. I think it was clear what they were going for, and it came across well. I've complained every time basically they throw in some lame relationship thing, but in this case it actually served the overall thrust of the message
Thrust,
of the
you could do.
episode with Garibaldi. Okay, sorry, poor choice of words maybe,
No, it was
but
perfect.
you know what I'm saying.
Gropo-ho?
Which so I'll allow it, even though I didn't enjoy the scene. It did.
It sure it
It
served the
worked
narrative
overall.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So good episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Cam. I call it a good, solid episode. I like the interaction between Dr. Franklin and General Franklin. I mean, we're seeing more about Franklin, which I think we need to see. And though it was a bit of a trope, the whole thing, I mean, trope doesn't make it not true. I mean, these things are a trope because they actually happen. And it was reasonably well done. The characters seemed to make both their positions made sense. It was well written overall, that aspect of it. And I agree with Cam there. I kind of write off. The final scene was effective, and I mean, and although there's gaping holes in it, and there would be a lot. They'd be likely spread out more, and there'd be a little more, body parts missing and that kind of stuff. I mean, the point is that all of these friends that the people on Babylon 5 made have been killed in combat. They're trying to bring that up to us. So I'm willing to overlook the fact that they obviously don't have enough money to put all these guys in combat gear, and it really doesn't. It makes us a little more realistic, but it really doesn't change the emotional impact of it. So I'm quite willing to overlook some of these these
minor things,
military things that probably wouldn't have happened in order to get the story out. So yeah, the story is the primary thing. So, and I'm pretty sure that they were short on money. They have budget limitations, and they're putting the effort into the story, and which I appreciate. I think much better.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow, we seem to be pretty much all in agreement.
It happens once in a blue moon.
I know, it's like
pretty much.
I should go play the lottery tomorrow. Wow.
All right, let's go to let's put on our do our trivia questions for this episode, and then we'll wrap up the show. All right, so trivia questions for this episode. What is the first name of Garibaldi's father? That's a little bit of you could have picked it up. Hopefully you got it. What do Sheridan and in general have in common? And this is a very minor thing. It's not like they're both in the military or something like that. It's they bond over certain. Well, I'll give you a little hint, a drink. How many GROPOS are on Babylon 5? What is the nickname of the GROPO Garibaldi hooks up with? And what is the name of the rebel stronghold the GROPOS are going to attack? So that one might be a little bit. It's there. It's in there. It's in the episode. But I don't know if we mentioned that one. Yeah. So those are the questions. And of course, next week we will give you the answer to those questions on the next show. So, anybody got Outpost Nerd? We'll start with you. What do you got going on? Anything on your channel you want to mention?
I will be trying to start Friday or Saturday night. I haven't decided which. I'd started it on Thursday night, but with my new job, hopefully probably starting within a day or two, I will be doing my show Nerd at Night, and I'm going to be trying to stream a little more into games. And I'm thinking the first game I'm going to do is a classic one that I really loved as a kid called Heroes of Might and Magic 5.
I remember that.
I loved
Heroes
it.
of
Me
Might
and
and
my
Magic.
best
That is
friend.
classic.
It's like $10 on Steam, so I'm going to start off small.
On your YouTube, Twitch, what is it on?
YouTube. Yeah, I'll post it
Drop
on
the link
YouTube.
in the private chat, and I'll post it in the.
Yeah, just give me a sec. Bring it up.
All right, Jason.
Tomorrow on the program, Cameron Pasha will be here. We're going to be talking about Gina Carano's settlement with Disney. Probably look a little bit more at the Skydance Paramount aggressive moves that they've been doing. And I'm going to try to get Cameron's thoughts on Tron Ares because he worked on the animated show very briefly. And then maybe get his take on what Bo DeMaio was saying about Marvel. So that's tomorrow. I don't know what Friday looks like yet because we got to take Mindy in for an X-ray. So we'll see from there. And then my did post a video on Monday. We didn't have a show, but I did post a video on Monday wherein I was reviewing Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow by Tom King because I have not read any Tom King. And now that I've read this and I've read Gotham City Year One, also by Tom King, I regret ever reading anything by Tom King. So, there's that over there.
I regret hearing the name Tom King.
Well, and apparently somebody has got it in their head. I guess Deeple was talking about it, and Mindy latched on to it. Apparently, they want to set a goal that when we get to 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, I have to read a Tom King book as in the style of a bedtime story. And I don't know if I'm up for that.
Would that not be against the Geneva Convention as
Right.
cruel and unusual torture?
Like, I don't know that I want to inflict that on the audience, but we'll see. But yeah, that's the only thing we've got here for now.
All right, Jeff.
Well, I am fresh back from my vacation in Huntsville. And I'm actually we picked up a couple of things at Gigaparts, so I'm going to be doing should be posting a couple of episodes on my Ham Radio Rejects channel here shortly at some point. We got a couple of mystery boxes that we're going to be Tom King sucks. Got a couple of mystery boxes we're going to be that we got at the show. Well, one we got at the show and one we got at Gigaparts in Huntsville. Which, if you've never been to Huntsville and been to Gigaparts, it's a nerd store. The only thing they don't have is tabletop stuff. They have every other nerd hobby covered, from flying an airplane, really seriously, to like you can get all your ground schooling there, to astronomy, ham radio, obviously, and you name it, electronics, 3D printers, everything. So, but we got a couple of things there and some other things I'm going to be showing off. I even have maybe kind of a quasi tool review from something I picked up at Harbor Freight. So maybe I'm going to give Cam a run for his money. It's a light, but still, the damn thing worked really well. I was impressed for that $24 light. At any rate, it's been a while since I posted anything on my channel, but I'll go ahead and post it here. And I got to get Mrs. Death to have a day off after being back to sit down and record some things with me. So, but check me out. Be on the lookout for it. And that's it.
All right, Cam.
Well, I'll just note that next week we have episode 11, All Alone in the Night. And on Sunday, we have a Top Lofty Lounge, which is going to be about...
Don't you ask that every week?
Yeah, it's going to be about, we're going to do some, internet type animation stuff. We're going to talk about I think we talked about it a little bit already, but we'll talk about K-pop Demon Hunters. We'll talk about Space King. We'll talk about maybe what's it called? Digital Circus. Maybe some other stuff. But
The Amazing Digital Circus.
Amazing Digital Circus. Excuse me. Yes. But those kind of put you on
Phenomena.
And yeah, internet phenomenon, I guess.
Do,
YouTube
Phenomenon.
We'll see what
Yeah, all three of us went to the same place because my lips were about to make it before I heard Jason start singing.
Oh, is that what Jason was humming?
It was both of you.
Phenomenon.
So Madman
Agamemnon.
loved our last
Agamemnon.
Madman loved our last week's show. That was movie night. That was about Colossus, the Forbin project.
I read up on
Oh, yeah.
Wikipedia like of the other two
Cam
books,
loved
and you are right, guys. That book series goes batshit off the wall.
Man,
Yeah, it gets pretty off.
I
off the
tried. I
original.
tried catching you a little bit, but yes, I had cell coverage. The internet coverage just wasn't that great for some reason. It
it's
kept
Alabama,
on dropping.
so-
Well, it's there on
Oh.
YouTube, and if anybody wants to watch it, you're
You
welcome.
you know
to watch
you
it.
you know the nickname for the town I was in, right?
Well, I know it's Huntsville.
No.
It's Rocket City because the town is literally full of rocket scientists.
Yeah,
Literally.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
like
I hadn't been there in
the
years.
convention center I was at was the Von Braun Center. So
Oh,
and
that's
NASA.
Uh-oh.
Hey,
I was just there last year.
You were there?
No, this year. I was there
Were you?
earlier this year. Well, I'm sorry. It was right at the end of 2024.
Apparently they're redoing. There was this big weird thing out in the parking lot in front of the Space Center there, and I wound up seeing it later on online that I guess they're redoing an some early jet aircraft. So like A-12 or something. I don't know. It was weird. Some sort of supersonic stuff.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. What do you got,
Yeah.
Snob?
We've already
Whatever
mentioned.
Cam does.
Wanna hear more?
Mm-hmm.
Herding cats. Yeah.
Meow.
That's we already talked about it. We got. I'll mention a little more on Top Lofty about what I've got.
Are we doing an after show stream or an after show thing on the Discord?
No.
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 I thought we were going to do that now. I go on vacation.
No. I mean, we can. Anyone can jump in. Anyone can jump into Discord. If you want to jump in the Discord after and talk about the episode, yeah, sure you can. If you want, maybe I'll pop in. Yeah.
I thought that was going to be a thing we were going to do. You know, I know Cam doesn't like it, but that's all right.
Space King is done. Oh yeah, they're probably the third episode is going to drop pretty soon.
Is there anything else coming out? What's coming out
But
soon?
apparently they've started shooting the sequel to Godzilla -1.
Mm.
Oh,
really?
excellent.
Aren't they? They're,
I still have
Remember-
not seen that.
There's lots of
and they're
rumors,
rushing. They're
going
rushing
around.
the next Superman movie, right?
But,
Well,
we'll let-
It's a film.
we'll let
It's a
Jason cover
film that involves Superman. It's not a direct
Lanterns.
sequel like Superman 2. No. Lanterns is the series, but we're talking
No,
about a movie.
Lanterns,
I-
I thought was going to be a series.
It
I-
is.
Or a movie.
yeah.
I mean.
No,
No.
Lanterns is an HBO Max series,
cool.
limited series.
I-
and then we got Supergirl coming.
Ugh.
Gunn has said he's writing something, but it's not Superman 2, but Superman is involved in it.
I read specifically that he already had the treatise or whatever they call it done, or the treatment was
Yeah.
already done for the Superman's 2.
Yeah,
And-
But it's not Superman 2. It's something that includes Superman, but it's not a direct sequel.
Nathan Fillion said it in the press during the press junket for Superman. He'd already finished Lanterns, and he said that's the most I've ever cussed in any project I've ever
Yeah.
done in my entire
Yeah.
life.
Which
I'm looking forward to that one.
No,
I
it doesn't-
really liked
That's him.
Fillion in this.
It's buddy cop murder mystery on Earth with space cops. I mean, come on.
Well, it's a first season.
It's a Green Lantern TV series. You should see Green Lanterns in space because they're space cops. If they're going to be investigating a murder, let's investigate somebody.
Maybe it'll be like Buck Rogers was. Season 1 is on New Chicago. Season 2 is. I mean, they could, if it's popular, they could go that way.
But that's the wrong setting for the Green Lantern.
Let's just wait and see.
No, I know it could be something really great, but I don't have a whole lot of confidence in lanterns. So I do find it interesting.
You guys are
I know
me,
you're one to go, huh?
Yeah. No, I'm trying to end the show.
Yeah. By the way, I've dropped a link to the Discord in the chat. Hopefully, it still works.
Yeah, this is great for afterwards. If you want to jump the Discord.
Oh no, I'm going to bed. I'm exhausted.
Maybe you got your screws tightened.
I'm surprised I'm still awake through the whole thing through tonight.
Yeah, you did good.
I managed to get through it. So.
Meanwhile, I still got to finish the last episode.
As quickly as possible.
I'm only halfway through.
All right. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Appreciate y'all coming. Thanks for the panel.
Like and subscribe. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Wow, that's so smooth now.